How's it going, guys? Welcome to another Play and Explain. Today it's going to be Pilot 25 time. There's a Pilot 10 video and a Pilot 50, and today I'm going to play on these stakes. What this is say about Pilot 25 is that there are more players. So, similarly to Pilot 10, this pool tends to have even more players in it. It's the most popular limit at the moment on stars. And here that's actually going to be close on the right. So it's the most popular limits. I have 200 entries. So there is a lot to say about, marking players. I would mark every 4 table and any 2 tabler, and then, color code people as soon as possible. That can be very beneficial for you if you're playing 50,000, 100,000 hands on a limit, just for future references. Also to just see right away whether you're playing against regulars, which is purple, or more fishy players when you're opening hands. I would stick to a tight strategy, same as PLO 10, PLO 50, maybe even a little bit tighter than PLO 50, because I think rake is even more ridiculous than PLO 25. Having said that, though, we're going to make the call with the ace jack 3 deuce double suited and flop bottom 2 and a backdoor draw. It's going to be somewhat tricky. Against a 3-way bet, they're often going to have kings, so the 3 deuce is not really worth that much, but the backdoor draw just adds a little bit. And now we got the 3 pair, and we're facing, ranges that likely should have bet the flop. So we're going to put out in a protection bet on a turn. And see what happens. I think I'm bet folding for the most part. So if he check backs and raises turn, I don't think it's going to be enough combo draws in general. And yeah, they're just going to be capped, and my 3 pair is just so often good. I'm just going to bet it at, but at the same time, every single card on the river, if they have a 1 pair, they have always equity. So betting there, I think, against how the people are playing is pretty okay. Especially having no diamonds in my hand. I need to fold out some equity of my opponents and just take the pot down with the 3 pair that I have. Would I have not improved, I wouldn't have bet, because the hand would have been too weak, I think. So here, I don't have any hearts, and I'm going to actually check it back. Pick up quite some equity here. Can hit now a 4 or a 7 for the straight draw, and obviously another 3 or a king to make it a pretty showdownable hand, or even value bet. I'm gonna fold the gut shot here against the pot size bet, the small pots. I think you can let go with just a gut shot, and often enough they're still gonna have, that straight that they're trying to represent when betting on a flop. People don't play as tough on the limped pots as they would on bigger pots. You're not trying as hard with the blockers, in my opinion. That's a side note. So far, I mean, you don't have to open a jack 6 deuce. I think anything from but the button cutoff is not really necessary. As you get 3 bets, the hand really sucks. So making this a cutoff open. Don't open this hand either. This also is kind of a trappy hand. The 6 doesn't connect well enough with the queen 10. If it was a 7, it makes sense just slightly better already. Also 3 diamonds makes it weaker. Just always look at the components of a hand. That's my advice for you guys. That you really look precisely what you're having. I think completing here is just fine. If I had the nut suit, I would definitely raise here. And he checks out, meaning he's out of the pot trying to play the next hand, which, sometimes I guess you can do. But you always have equity, and you always have a chance that it goes into check down and you win the hand. Maybe he was afraid of, making a bad call. That's in PLO almost never a good idea. I've seen people muck in live PLO where they would have ended up making the best hand at showdown. It's also happened in Hold'em sometimes, which is pretty ridiculous. Also, I think I won in Hold'em once with 7 high in a 3-way showdown. It's pretty spectacular. One guy mucked. One guy had 6 high, show him the 7 high, take the pot. But I think the other guy who mucked had the same hand and thought he was never going to win for some reason. Back to the action. I mean, I'm not really getting any good hands at the moment. are not too great hands, but that's, you know, that takes a lot of discipline then to just not play the hands. I would also not cold call a rundown as low as this against a unknown player. I mean, I got 7 hands on him, I can't really say much, and I would only cold call a little bit higher rundowns. This is close, but also folded, having no reads whatsoever on the entire table. Easy fold on the right again. So yeah, sometimes it's just going to be minutes of minutes, sometimes an hour of folding. Here, go either way. The 7. I think I'm gonna flat, and the reason is the big blind is gonna squeeze quite some poor hands, and I think it's gonna be good for me when he does so. And yeah, the multi-way situation for this hand is obviously quite good as well. The jack high suit is not so great, but obviously the ace high suit dominates a lot of their holdings. So if they have diamonds now, that would be quite an ideal situation. Actually gonna call. I also have a backdoor draw. I think other people coming into the pot are not necessarily bad for me as I dominate their diamond draws. And I'm still, I guess, calling it off for 80% pot. Unfortunately, he made it straight on the turn, which, you know, we cannot do much about. Raising certainly wouldn't have been horrible. I would probably raise more if I had a combo draw that has not the top pair top kicker added to it. Or just, you know, pure mate hands. But the nut flusher exactly can dominate some other holdings, as I mentioned before, and that would be quite ideal if someone, for instance, jams, like if the big blind or small blind just jammed king high suit plus top pair, without 2 pair obviously, then that would have been quite ideal for me to come over the top again and dominate. And if they have a stronger hand than that, well, they're not gonna fold anyway. Like if they have bottom set, it's not gonna fold, right? So no point in trying to make a better hand fold than the ones we're dominating already. Should be a good board for me, and he should actually not c-bet as often, so I'm gonna just call here. Think that he should still have a hand when he does c-bet. Interestingly, checks the turn. I'm gonna go for the check. I mean, now against the check, it's easy. I can just take the check behind, I guess. He has the better 2 pair. So he did c-bet the 2 pair, which I would not do. I mean, he doesn't have a 9, he doesn't have a jack, he just has the 2, which is definitely worth a note. I'm gonna fold also to the 3-bet here. Not too happy about it. I guess this doesn't even need to be opened from middle position, but more from the cutoff. As it was so disconnected. Checking the button 3-bet, which is about 8.5% at the moment. Definitely gonna call the ace jack 7 with the suit. Trying to hit the board very well, which we don't, unfortunately. Gonna have to continue against third though. Definitely at the bottom of my range here at the moment, so I'm gonna bluff, trying to pick it up. You could also pot size bet, but I think either they're folding or not. Against half pot, I'm also gonna check fold the flop because he has so many aces still in this range, and the price is still not right for jacks at least, with almost nothing to go with it. Or the backdoor flush draw, but that's it. Also, if the gallery would be an easy call, adding so much equity and some implied odds. So when you grind on PL25, you should get a decent sample in. Of course, I would start with 2 tabling like I do here. I wouldn't right away go into 4 tabling. Sometimes even 1 table might be the good thing, because then you can think about c-betting and what do you want to c-bet in every situation a little bit more carefully. Could think about leading, but I have nothing really that matters. Here I'm gonna check the second nuts on the flop. Insta pots, we're not going anywhere, but it's obviously not a good situation if he barrels through. Oh. So he checks behind. Could have played that hand, I guess. Again, on the turn, it's probably also obvious to him that he was bluffing because of the ace on the turn. And my check call range hits that turn probably much better. I mean, sure, he could have been betting the king I flush himself, but as I do have it, he cannot have it. I expect most random players to open too many hands, like 25% or something, and it's going to be okay enough to 3-bet here, and the suits are somewhat low, but the hand is very connected. Pair in a gut shot, I'm gonna actually pot size bet. This is basically praying for him not to have diamonds, and he's gonna have diamonds 20-25% of the time. Maybe sometimes only even a bit less than 20%, because when people play poor ranges, they're not having enough suits, and in that spot, I mean, if they play good ranges, and it's gonna be, you know, when you don't have diamonds, they're gonna have diamonds 25, even 28% of the time. And here, yeah, it's not, with the deuce, it's not a great spot, and 3 clubs, gonna fold. Rake is also quite high, so you don't want to defend too many hands in the big blind versus early position. But the other hand, to go back to the 10, 9, 8, 5 double suited, against someone who opens like 15%, I guess I would just flat, as it still not has the super good connectivity like the rundowns or the 1-gapper rundowns. But against some randoms who raise way too many hands, it's good to mix it up with some double suited hands like that. Sure, they could fold some hands. And also gives you quite some nice board coverage, which is sometimes overrated, as I went into that topic on other videos. Definitely gonna defend here. It's almost a heads up situation, and I got an ace 10 5-4 single suited. Given the price, very good situation to make the call. C-bet's not so much for, you know, being such a loose opener, and now I really have nothing but a top pair, and that's usually a fold. Especially because people barrel on that board quite a lot, and if you cannot just withstand any heat on a turn or on many turns, then it's time to fold. Like, you're not even happy about 1 turn, that's just the ace on a turn. Sure, you can check call, but it's not going to be great. And now we get a little bit of better hand. We get the aces on the right. And surprisingly, they don't open, which sucks. But taking it down is always fine too. Remember, when you win a pot, it's 150 BB per 100, so it's quite nice. So in the long run, that makes a good difference. And defending a king 6-6-4 double gets cut off. Again, another great flop, 2 backdoor draws added to the top pair. I guess check call and check fold both are okay. It's just clicking buttons. Sometimes they just click once with a check 10, no, not a check 10, but a 10-9, whatever, and then they just give up. And with the two backdoor draws also you have some more options to potentially call down. Taking down with a river bet. Just hoping you didn't somehow make a straight, but that's also gonna get semi-bluff quite a bunch. I have no idea how much he's opening, so I'm just gonna defend the kings. Getting 4-bet here will be quite nasty. Make it a bit better, king, 10-9. I'm fine with 3-bet. And letting it go on this board. So yeah, I mean, not really much happening. I hope that if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section below after this video gets released. I would be happy to answer some of your questions. I'm gonna call the 3-bet here. You can see he's 3-betting way too many hands. Also the 9-9, 8-7 is kind of okay. Sure, he's gonna have aces on this board, but he starts oddly with a check. I'm gonna check it back and, you know, see what he wants to bluff with it. There's not really hands that can, you know, become much better on turns and rivers. Either he has to be beat or he doesn't with his 3-bet. And if he just wants 2 bets out of a 7, that's fine for me if he does have the aces. So I'm gonna call here on the turn. And I mean, the river's kind of bad. But yeah, you know, he might just have a bluff, whatever. Let's see. Okay, could have gotten there with the diamonds, but you know, 7 diamonds still left and 2 jacks, so 9 outs, not too bad. Gonna check this back. When you don't have a 7, a 5, or a 3, any of the straight draws, and not 2 backdoor flush draws with, let's say, something like aces, then it's not really worth betting. Especially because you don't have good board coverage from under the gun here, and if big blind is somewhat aware of that, he can put a lot of pressure on you in 7-5-3 because he can have all those straight draws, or they're well better represented in the big blind's range. Here a speculative call against the short stack, and these guys with somewhat of an okay multi-way hand with it. I mean, check 7, like make that 7 a complete dangler and just fold it. You shouldn't call. Like check 7 can still make a straight. And yeah, I guess we got lucky as they checked through, and I'm gonna bet the river for pot. Maybe get called by a flush. You could also bet 150 and maybe they level themselves a bit more. Then against pot size could be working out better for you. And make you also be able to maybe value bet the nut flush and a certain block, or like a queen. Or the second nut flush even. Yeah, I'm a very loose button. Don't know anything about the big blind, so the 5 dangler, double suited hand I'm gonna open on the cutoff. I hope you guys enjoyed this Pilot 25 play and explain. If you did, smash that like button. It's really important for this channel to grow, and I need your help on this. Now, in this Pilot 25 session, I guess I wasn't running too well. There wasn't some bigger spots, and I just lost a little bit of red line. But this is really reality. I didn't want to show you guys just some really good run session. I wanted to show you guys the real Pilot 25 grind, how it can look like. You know, you can just not have many spots for 20 minutes, and you need to become patient about it, and you know, just keep on folding when it's appropriate, but also not go into that folding tilt where you just think, oh, I get bad hand, bad hand, bad hand. You know, I get hundreds of bad hands, just fold, 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 fold. And then not notice when you have a okay defend hand in the big blind. Now, this is low stakes. And, you know, folding a little bit too much in the big blind is fine, but you definitely don't want to go overboard, because if over some 100 hands you develop, you know, some stats that indicate that you're folding a lot in the big blind, for example, 80% of hands against a steal, then people will notice that and even open, you know, a couple of more hands, and, you know, you definitely want to get some walks. Now, there's one spot where you definitely want to be, you know, a little bit looser. That's when the small blind opens and you're in the big blind. Don't want to fold more than 20% of hands. You want to have a 3-bet, also a bunch of them, to, you know, keep on getting those walks, because if you're getting a walk, you're not losing that 100 BB per 100 from your big blind, and also you're winning the small blind, which is a pretty okay win rate spot on the long run. Now, if you can establish yourself as someone on those micro stakes that doesn't fold at least to small blind steals, like to out of position, as I said, it really is crucial that you don't defend too much out of position, but when you're in position, at the unique spot in the big blind, don't fold too many hands, because if you do, you know, you can miss out on quite some good opportunity to make some win rates. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be back soon with some database analysis on some other channels. I'm going to be working with Rulers Poker. I'm going to have a stream soon with him. And, you know, I'm also going to do some more Hold'em content in the future.